We need your help to win this battle. Let's go.
All I ever wanted, all I ever needed is here in my house. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm. All I wanted, all I ever needed is here in my house. Words are very unnecessary, they can only do harm.
Let's just keep that going. You know what I mean? I just want to keep that going.
I felt like saying like Maximus.
In the beginning, I know.
My favorite part at the beginning.
Namaste and like my family, and welcome to another Team Light interviews. I'm here with my brother, the one and only, the famous Mr. Leo King, David Palmer. What's up, bro?
I'm with the famous Rion Team Light, baby. What's up?
Hey, baby. What's up, God Squad? I got all new swag for you, too. I got one. It says Legend, too, for you. I got some Legend.
I'm stoked, dude. I know it's like so weird. Time is so weird right now, but I remember last time we talked, I'm like, dude, I really need I want a new hat, bro.
I got you.
Like you make the best stuff all over, but there's something like people do not make good hats. You make
Thanks.
The bomb hats. That is like the biggest compliment you could get. I'm not even kidding.
Funny enough, I fly to Maui when I went to Maui, and I go to the wholesale distributor, and I actually go directly to the factory, and I hand pick the hats. That's why they're fire. Yeah.
So fire, dude.
Yeah. So I'm excited, man. I mean, we have so much to talk about. Look, me and you are two little pistols. And
yeah.
Like,
we had to go live because we would have talked for 5 hours before going live. It would have been bad.
It would have been bad. I was like, okay, listen, we're going to do our best. There's no gossip. We're only going to spit truth, fire, and awesomeness. That's all there is. So, no, I mean, I'm just getting everyone hyped for the show. Thank you so much, everyone getting tickets. The link is provided on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm pretty sure obviously on YouTube. But
yeah, or just go to teamlight.com too.
Teamlight.com. And I want you guys to know that the post-conference and the tours, the Vortex tours and the UFO tours, those are only things that are like limited. You know what I mean? As far as the size, you know what I mean? Because there's only like, I think 10 or 15 people that can go a day or at night or whatever. But what's up, dude? So what do you want to crush on? I want to talk about this great alignment on January 25th. And I want to like kind of lock and load everyone into the abundance, which is about to be released on Earth.
Well, one, there's some misinformation about the January 25th alignment. Like,
yes,
all the planets aren't going to be aligned heliocentrically, like they're saying, right? Well, like they're showing a picture of them all aligned.
It's not. So tell me. So what is it?
So it's more like it's next week, January 21st, is the Sun and Pluto going to make the conjunction in Aquarius for the first time since going back to 1778. So I know we've talked about, and I'm sure people in the spiritual community have heard all about Pluto and coming into Aquarius. It came in 2023 for just a couple months, and then it went back to Capricorn. And then in 2024, it came for almost half the year, and then it went back into Capricorn. And then it just came back in, and it's officially there for the next 19 years. and that was November 19th. But any big transit of planets, you need the sun, our awareness, the consciousness, just to light it up, literally, right? So the sun and Pluto are going to finally make their alignment the day after the inauguration, and that's going to really set this whole new 20-year transit. And so that's one thing. But there's a new moon that's coming, but that's not until January 29th. So it's really weird, this whole, I have no idea where anybody's getting this whole great alignment thing, because if you look heliocentrically, they're not all aligned, but it's more about in the sky of what you're able to see. So you'll be able to go out at right after sunset, right, and be able to see Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, and so forth, before Venus is going to not be the evening star anymore. So, you know, that's what they're more talking is like, you know,
Right.
we're going to be able to see a lot of the planets out in the sky.
No, I got you. Yeah, I saw those posts and I was like, that's a question for my brother. That's like your wheelhouse. You know, if you want to know how to make a plasma drive, how to make a force field, I got you. When it comes to the planets aligning, that's my boy. You know what's going on.
I mean, it's funny because there is a lot of alignments happening, but it's more than just one day. I mean, honestly, 2025 is the great alignment. I would call it the whole year. What's happening are, it kind of sucks, but it's the most amazing thing too, because what it is what we've all been living and waiting for, the change is happening, but it's in the change, meaning it doesn't fully complete this year. 2026, 2027, those are the years of like, it's on like Donkey Kong. But like 2025 is, we get to be the first ones to write on this blank sheet of paper, and then they pull the paper away. And then, but that's more like when you move to a house and it's a new house, and then you still have stuff left at the old house, and you're like, oh, I don't want to have to go back and kind of like sweep it. That's kind of the second part of this year, is like, okay, we know what's going to start to look like, and then, oh, I have to go back and clean up. That's like the worst part, is like the going back.
The cleanup is the worst part.
You know, that's the positive. I mean, it's the biggest events that are going to happen. I feel like this is the year where everything that we've seen was nothing, because if you think about it, it's been people being aware, waking up, and then being like, oh, and it's really nice to see like this last part of 2024 definitely was people being like, okay, this ain't no joke, right? This is actually happening. But 2025 is like that, but bigger, right? Like so many things. And I think a lot of it really is about people really going, where have I not been paying attention? Because we're ending a lot of this huge Pisces transits, and it's great for spirituality, great for awakening, but it's also us clearing up past life stuff. You know, I'm really happy to be talking more about the more spiritual subjects, because now that Pluto's out of Capricorn, like the government stuff, like people don't have to be so worried anymore. We've like set the tone, like, yo, don't mess with us as people, all right? Like, and people are where the power is going to be with Pluto and Aquarius now. And then, of course, all this Pisces energy, doing your spiritual work, your past life work, and really opening up different timelines. And I know that might sound crazy for people. That's where people are going to have to jump the next bridge. Is there are multidimensional timelines. There are different, wider versions of this universe that we have access to, that we have not even gotten the first opportunity to play with, that we finally start to see here in 2025. So it's going to blow people's minds what's possible.
I couldn't agree more. The multiple timelines is, I think, with our dream time, I noticed that even when I'm dreaming now, I'm not dreaming. I'm living 3 different lives a night. I spend an hour and 38 minutes on one bandwidth channel or dimension or timeline. Right. And then I switch. I mean, a lot of us are waking up, 2 to 2:30 in the morning is the first dream ending. Remember your dreams. Yep. And then it goes into the next one. You get another 3.5, 4 hours. You wake up around 4:30, 5:30. You get the second one, and then that's the one where you're like, should I just get up now? Because apparently I'm not sleeping. And then you go back to bed again, and you wake up, 8. Well, it depends. Some people get up early, but maybe around 8:30, I'm up. But I noticed 3 dream sequences a night, and that's been going strong for the last about 2 months, 2.5 months. It did take some getting used to with the neural load. And what I can tell
Yes.
you is that it doesn't get easier. Rather, I had to almost exert more force in the physical, meaning that I have to rest all day, but then I have to go to the gym. I have to do my cardio. I have to reset my suit, because if you don't kind of juice up, let's just say power up and take your vitamins and all that, you'll just end up like on the couch. Like I can't move. You're like,
That's what this Mars retrograde has been really intense, because one, it was in Leo and it went back into Cancer, and then it made this huge opposition to Pluto. The last time that's happened was 3,910 years ago. And Mars retrograde in Cancer, Cancer's where Mars falls, as we call it, meaning that's like, if you were to give points for every planet and where it goes, I love astrology because it's kind of like a game too, right? It's kind of like playing your piece on the board, right? So when Mars is in Cancer, it's kind of like being in Monopoly, like at like Marvin Gardens or something, you know, like it's not Boardwalk. It's not the place Mars wants. So when Mars is in Cancer, which Cancer does rule our bed, our home, how we self-nurture, but that's why Mars has a problem there, because Mars is gladiator. Let's go get it. It's, you know, Maximus, like, let's go. But like,
yes,
Cancer's very much like the motherly energy, the womb, right?
Right.
So there's this energy of like, if I'm not feeling right or whatever, I might not want to go out right now. I don't have the energy. And it also is an energy toll taker. So everything, you have to look at it as like, we're on reserve tanks. And so you just got to like make sure that you just don't burn your reserve right away, because it'll go, you pop it quick.
And your cortisol levels, ladies and gentlemen, everyone out there in, you know, California that was going through that apocalypto thing, you know, the main thing, especially, I mean, it was like apocalypto. I mean, I know then there's gnarly. It was gnarly. You were out there. Why don't you explain briefly, like you're on the ground out there in Cali. What was it like going through the fires? And I hear there's still some burning, like it's still not over yet.
Well, I mean, bro,
I know,
like, you're from the same area. So, I mean, I'm in Orange County, right? So like what was weird was all of SoCal from San Diego, Orange County, Riverside County to LA County was on the alert. And then it started in LA. So as an Orange County person, I'm like, oh, okay, like that's kind of weird. It's starting over there. And the fact that it was that Palisades fire, that went all the way into Malibu, that went all the way through Topanga, all the way down to Encino. Like those are, I've lived all in those areas. Like it was literally like, I couldn't believe it. How many friends of mine had to fully evacuate. Friends I know lost their homes. It's like horrible. It was like, but you know what was really interesting, because it wasn't just on the media, but it was on the ground. People are waking up. People are like, we're not going to take this anymore. Right. And honestly, the air was weird. You and I talked about the air just on text, like weeks prior to it.
I know.
Right?
I know.
So it was really weird, because the air was doing weird stuff for the weeks prior. And then with that much smoke, like I was blowing black stuff out of my nose. Right. And it really did feel like this is happening, and it sucks. And there's a lot of people that were taking opportunities. I don't know if you saw, like the real estate agents from all the reality shows, kind of like, oh yeah, I'm making deals on this. And then there's price gouging, people putting up their rents, but everybody's moving to Orange County. It just came out like today. Like, so it's really weird that so many people that would never leave LA are leaving.
Right.
And then a lot of people are also waking up, but it definitely is like made people on the ground here go, everybody's happy for this whole story of the last 4 years to end.
Yes. And, for how I think about California, I got, born and raised there. I kind of think like, the left or whatever this blue goo was, right, that we just went through. I think that California is really the sleeping giant that the United States needs to really wake up. If California wakes up, bro, like really wakes up and goes all in, that is, they do have voices not only over the United States, but the world, media and this and that. If that population really wakes up, it may be the nitrous boost the rest of
Right.
the United States needs. Because I mean, people want to separate California from the rest of the U.S. Like California's doing their own thing; they believe their own thing. What I can tell is that when I moved out of California, it took me 2 years to break that programming. And I
Yeah.
was there my whole life. Like everything was in the industry, and like 2 solid years to break that programming. But what I can say is that I think there's a lot of really gifted, beautiful people out there that are waking up from this dream that of what that control is. I mean, dude, even on the TV and all the stuff that they would force people to do, you know, with the jib jab stuff, I just have a more of like a spark in my heart rather than something that would be like a separation thing. I wait for the day where Cali just goes, we're all in. That day happens, the entire United States. I mean, it's crazy how much industries in California, no one wants to talk about it. California in itself makes more money than entire countries. I mean, it's GDP just
Yeah,
being
it's the fifth largest GDP in the world.
on the planet. So what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say is the fifth largest GDP on the planet goes, yeah, I'm all about eating healthy. I'm all about no more GMOs. I'm all about take these smart meters out of my house. I'm all about, I don't know what this fire control is. Get the right leadership, get the right people in there. And I just saw this morning that the mayor of Oakland is just got indicted for
Yeah, I know.
bribery. Yeah,
Well,
so I'm trying, you know,
we're watching. People are watching from California. Like it's been the one hub of like a wake up center for people across the world and country to kind of
Mhm.
watch. Because like if you watch Gavin Newsom, like you want to talk about watching how an entity that's not for the good
Yes.
slimes itself the best. Like it's really been fascinating from the French Laundry in 2020 to the fire, that woman coming up to him and him being like, I'm on the phone with the president. And then he's not on the phone. And then he's like, I've tried to call 6 times. And it's like, well, because there was no normal Biden. Like,
Right. There's no,
like,
who you calling? A
who are
secretary?
you calling?
Yeah,
Like,
there's
you know,
no.
and the way that interaction was so like where people are at, like you're not doing anything. And all you're doing is just slicking your hair. I thought it was crazy to see Mel Gibson do his full comeback in the last week. Just like, whoa, and he lost his house. But I'm like, the Patriots back? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, dude.
Like Riggs is back? Like
Riggs,
whoa.
bro.
Like, okay. Like, and him just like, there's something else going on. And knowing how to wake people up that way.
Stallone too.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's been, I think you can feel it on the ground that like people just don't, they now know it wasn't what they were told was reality for the last 4 years. Like they had to break out of that spell. Like I'm not even kidding. Like I'm in a high rise now, right? Mm-hmm. And the manager that like does the maintenance and he runs this building, he came in here. Was it yesterday? It was 2 days ago. And he literally, I've talked to him before. He's a really nice guy. And he goes, hey, bro, I saw you got a Trump hat in your office. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, aren't you happy we won? And he's like, it's so weird. I used to kind of keep it like so DL, but now I feel like people are more
right.
Like people, I'm like more people I find everywhere I can talk to about it now. So it's a good sign. It's like people are, and I think the whole Trump thing isn't about himself. It's about a movement of everybody cross-pollinating. Right. You know, it doesn't matter your party. It doesn't matter what you are. Just let's be free. Let's work together. It doesn't matter.
Right.
If you don't agree on everything, but we all agree, let's make this better or let's make that better. And I feel like that's what the spiritual community modeled for a long time. And we're seeing it now in government. So I think we're on the right page right now.
Right.
The astrology says we're on the right team too. Like this has been about picking your team, which has really been like spirituality, love, finding ways to work with others, even if you don't agree with everything, and finding commonality and doing what's right. I mean, it's really basic. It's really simple to do the spiritual like journey.
Right.
But this is like us starting to, I think, turn a page that astrologically and what we've all experienced for 4 years to now it's 5 has been one that has been the greatest wake up of all time. Right. And it's been honestly great to see, but going back to 2020, 2021, 2022, like we'll look back and go, that was some of the darkest stuff of all
It
time
was.
that came in.
It was, dude. And the thing is that we haven't even processed it yet because we're still living with it. We haven't even really started to begin to heal from that. You know what I mean? We still have family members, friends, loved ones that we lost. Like, it's going to take some time. The only thing I can say is like protect the kids, save the kids
100%.
now. I mean, like, okay, we're older. Okay, we've got some emotional damage. Okay, we got the only thing we can do is shelter the kids that were too young to know what that was. Right. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to have them go to therapy in 20 years. I'm trying to go, hey, listen, the world's changing. There were some bad people in charge, and now they're no longer in charge, son, daughter. You know what I mean? I don't want them to relive those years. That was something for us and our generations that we took, on our shoulders. You know what I mean? We carried that across the finish line. So, us and our generation as Indigos and the Crystals, I mean, we had to watch our parents, our grandparents, while we defended and protected them from the kids. So, I mean, it was like it was the craziest thing. You're trying to explain to your parents who your whole life have been like, oh, I tell you how the world works. Right. You're sitting here going, please, by the Mother Mary and the power of Yeshua, do not do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're like, oh, no.
Do that, please.
Yeah, CNN told me, whatever it is. We had to fight this it was almost like a consciousness battle the whole time, like protecting your own. So it's very interesting how that did it generationally. I saw
a synthetic consciousness that was,
dude.
Like, that's what's crazy is it's not natural. It's got this really odd feeling, sense, and if you've been doing the spiritual work, you could feel it in so many different ways. It was fracturing. It was like growing synthetic vines and
when I got the Kavi, I had to shake it out of my one night. I was like, that's it. I'm done being sick. I was in the shower and I literally felt like I had to energetically purge an AI life form, whatever that was that people were shedding. I feel like I was it was conscious. It was just go to bed, don't wake up. I mean, it was there was some evil stuff.
It's they're like little sentinels,
No, real. That's real. So it's going to be interesting later whenever someone's going to grab that thing, deprogram it, since it is kind of a Bluetooth thing with the Lucifrays, someone's eventually going to track, well, who is broadcasting what into the people? Where was that broadcast station? What were they broadcasting to the people? It's going to turn into something like people are just seeing this layer. They're like, oh, no. Where was the consciousness that was being punched in coming in from? What was the programming? What was the station it was programming on the masses? It's a lot deeper than people think. It's just a little this. No. They plan this shit for 30, 40 years?
I mean, I think it's
imagine an unlimited budget.
A cycle that has happened.
Yeah.
That takes usually anywhere from 250 to 500 years, but this one definitely was going back to old plagues and how they did it, right? The whole plague doctor and ring around the rosy and put the big mask on that looked like like you were a big crow walking around, but you were really creepy wearing, and the kids.
And that's still one of the masks.
And what's funny is those plague doctors are what brought the plague into the people's homes by the fleas that stuck on them. So there's never been the PPE of the old days working. It actually caused it. So what the pattern in the astrology is always is that who's ever saying this is what's going to protect you is what's causing it.
Yeah. No. Listen,
that's history too.
My guides are telling me, you guys are like, how we had to cut the last time me and you did an interview because we did 20 minutes of we were on target. Too much. They're like, don't load that. Yeah. So let's pause because I'm already feeling the information coming in. Who's thinking about the broadcast towers of the programming that they were using? I'm like, not many.
No.
Not many. So they're like, chill. Okay. That being said,
that's what's going to be weird is what we've been through has been, for some people it's been too extreme, right? But it's also them kind of now getting ready because so much stuff's about to be exposed that's a world we didn't know existed behind the curtain of Oz, right? Like it's very Oz-like now. Like we're now realizing that's all you were, right? And what has been going on back here?
Right.
And so that's going to be really interesting to see how it affects people. And this is where I feel like part of the mission for Lightworkers has been for a long time. We always knew we would just be, we do all this hard work and then we get to a point just like here, our hands here, just come over to this side. It's all good. You're going to be all right. Like I feel like we're coming into the beginnings of like people's shattered idea of what the world is, and very Matrixy when Neo's throwing up, like when he arrives on the Nebuchadnezzar and it's just like, wait, what? Blah.
Yeah. And they go, we usually don't wake someone up that old. Their body can't, their consciousness can't take it. You can't wake them up when they're, So no, and we're doing that for each other. No, here's what I feel. I feel there's a God's grace coming for those that really held out. I really do believe there is a divine aperture to this. I do not believe that. I believe there's a rhyme and a reason for the universe. So everyone that's gone through all this pain, suffering, and tribulations, I do see a happy, balanced paradise for you. It's not like just it's negative into the ground. Even the astrology is stating that we're about to go into a golden age. So what were we doing? Maybe educating the entire population of this planet who's been in charge. We know their names. We know what their families do. It's almost like they created Fight Club, bro. I know a lot of my homies in California, like that's how we grew up. It's like Fight Club. It's like, we know where you are. We know where you live. It's going to be
it's so weird. Being spiritual is always considered introvert, but it's both. We're now going to see a world because with all the 3 outer planets moving into air and fire signs. So we've been living in a water and earth dynamic for a long time. Okay. So Neptune came into Pisces in 2011 and then 2012, Pluto came into Capricorn 2008, and then Uranus came into Taurus 2018. So these 3 outer planets have been in this earth and water vibe forever. Now it's going to be fire air. So it's extroverted. So our voice, you're going to have to make your voice be heard. You're going to have to express yourself. So I think a lot of the great inner work stuff has been done, but now it's starting to see like, what does it look like when we actually bring this in to the matrix? We bring this in and get rid of all these situations and actually create things and actually see them take off more. So there's going to be a big, this at 2025 is the old way being realized for sure. It's not going that way anymore. Seeing a new way and then having to come back and clean up kind of our subconscious attachments, right? I think that's where we all have cleared a lot of those, but the hardest subconscious stuff is the stuff that we save for last, right? The stuff that we forget about even, right? So there's stuff still under the rug, and individually we all are going to be like, oh yeah, like, for me becoming a dad and I'm having another kid in June, it's like, man, there's parts of my subconscious of like, I'm a DJ. I'm going to be DJing at the event, but it's like, man, yeah, there's a part of me that still misses that old school rave, like, underground, just gritty. But it's like, wait, there's a part of me now that wants to go, like when we do this event, the one we did in Texas last year was that night was so like, wow.
Yes, it was rad. You crushed it, by the way.
Now, so it's more of like the more you do. I love subconscious stuff because it's like go do maybe what's like it, but in the positive form of it, and churn it out. You know what I mean? Like it's sometimes subconscious stuff is like don't get rid of it, but stop doing it that way.
Right. You know, 100%. You can. The thing about life is so funny too, especially it's weird. Like I remember us being growing up, bro. Like I woke up to Fox LA in high school every morning.
Good morning LA or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Good morning LA, bro.
Good day, LA, yeah.
Good morning LA. And that was my TV would turn on. That was like before. That was like my alarm. And then I remember like we were literally raised on MTV. Like we were like that was. I didn't even realize what it was like. Like it's almost like we were people that were born and raised in California. it's really hard to kind of comprehend. We were raised in like an artificial consciousness bubble. And at that time,
know.
no one was looking through it. That's
I
just
know.
what our reality was. And looking back on it, I can say that it showed me a lot of things. But what's most important now is that the amount of fun and positivity and all the things that we enjoyed to do, but to do that in a more healthy, balanced way. Like, again, like just like you said, maybe don't take it so hard into the paint, but
Right.
to have a great time with your friends. And it's really just like almost like letting your energy explode. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of us that just are been waiting for our hearts to really open up. And I think it's really hard sometimes in certain areas. And say if you're in New York or in LA or some dense Chicago, some denser areas, it's hard to open your heart. You know what I mean? You always feel like you have to be on guard. You know what I mean? You always,
Right. No, totally.
I mean, people don't realize if you're born and raised in New York or even in some places in Cali, you've been walking with a shield in front of yourself since you were 9 years old. You've
Right.
been walking with the shield so long, you don't even know what it's like to put the shield down. You know, you feel
True.
like that's part of your character. Like, no, this is how you have to be, head on a swivel. We're in a city, right? It's weird when you actually get to put the shield down and really feel like, oh my God, so these are all the emotions, feelings, and sensations. It's almost like you put on a pair of sunglasses, right? That blocked
Right.
80% of life because you have to spend so much energy walking in that defensive manner. You know, it kind of blocks your creativity, your inner
Yeah.
bliss. You know what I mean? Like all the things that are like make life life. How can you have those connections if you're constantly on guard? I mean, you know what I mean? You're
No, you
constantly
can't. I mean, all you can really do is focus
You
on
know?
that, and if something come, be able to handle that. But that's about it. You're not really manifesting. And then sometimes you're actually attracting something to come your way when it's that space. So, really, I think all the work that we all do and that we all teach is coming into like not a test, but not a final, but just like, hey, it's here. So, you know, like people have to realize like you don't have to try so hard to do anything really. If you're in your spiritual bliss and you're in your alignment, things are just going to happen that are positive in your life. This is us going back to positive visualization techniques, positive affirmation techniques that are not like the cheesy ones that people are trying to sell you, but the actual real stuff, right? Like actually using all of the spiritual tools is going to be the most fruitful experience of your life right now. And it might sound crazy, but we're here. Like
Yep.
in the Pisces, that's been 19 years since, but it didn't have Neptune, the ruler there, and Neptune and North Node are meeting. And so when we do this event, it's so I can't even believe we're doing it when Neptune's coming into Aries. Like the last time that happened was the start of the Civil War, back in 1860.
Mhm.
But it's like, you know, the side that's doing the right things, doing the right thing, and and that's what's interesting about Neptune crossing into Aries that way.
Mhm.
And Venus is going to be retrograde at that time, going from Aries into Pisces. With the North, though, there's so much astrology happening at the time that we're doing our event. I'm like, that's like one of the most peak, like, holy cow, like starting to watch the spaceship come out of the water and start to come up into the ether. Like it's like
Right.
going to be both at the same time. It's going to be wild.
And the thing too, I mean, with all of us together at this Marvel team up, you know, I feel like I've had to kind of jump into the deep water, you know, obviously with, you know, you say like, look behind the veil, right? Look behind the screen in Oz. I've had to, you know, data dump a lot of information about things that I really honestly wish, not that I didn't want to know, but it's like, what's really been going on in the secret space program? What is solar warden? What is going on the moon? What are these drones about? What is the inner earth stuff? What's a dumb space? Like as you go down this, you know, they say you go down the wormhole or you go down the, jump into the deep side of the well, you know, it's more and more data. What I can say for everyone going through this is there are a lot of disclosures coming out in 2025. And that's what I kind of want to talk about a little bit with you and what you see coming up for 2025. Because I think that is important. I see a lot of disclosures coming out. I've already seen 3 ads out of nowhere. I don't know if you've seen this. Have you seen the Enron egg?
Yeah. Pretty
all
crazy, right?
all of a
Like,
sudden they have an egg
I
that
know.
it can output 200 watts for 10 years and you can buy it and put it in your house.
I know.
I mean, and mass produced.
And
Like those have been sitting in
Enron.
the works.
That's what's so
Enron.
great. Like I thought Enron was after their whole. I thought they were done. So right?
No.
No, we're back, and look what we do now. It's like whoa.
Yeah, there's that one. I saw another ad. They got a 0 point tech one that is
Yeah.
can go all the way up to like a kilowatt, or like you can go all the way up. I'm sitting there going like, what's about to happen? Like I'm trying to put you know what I mean? There's something else about to happen.
Well, that's what's so crazy about this week coming up, right? Like January 21st, the Sun and Pluto will meet in Aquarius, and that's all about technology, electricity, power sources, distribution of power. And many people don't realize, like when Benjamin Franklin put up a kite with the key, it's not just the lightning about when it struck, but if you put certain things up into the atmosphere, there's electrically charged particles in the atmosphere, right? So people don't realize, like, how much electricity. I mean, we have static electricity when, here in this studio, I'm like, man, like with all this electrical equipment, there's carpet here. I'm like, that every day.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is it's going to be massive amounts of the technology. One is the disclosure stuff is going to be about technology and where they've been using it for a long time. And then Pluto deals with other world or stuff that we've never seen that's been behind the scenes, literally like full blown, like hidden from us. The other thing too is it's going to be about discoveries of things like, is there a planet X? Like, is there all these other things? Like, what's really
going on?
What's really going on?
Yeah.
What's real? Like think of James Webb's telescope, right? Like,
right.
If you and I got the controls to that thing, we wouldn't be pointing it where they just show you the same pictures they did with Hubble, just enhanced now.
Oh no, I'd be scanning. I'm like scanning any moving object.
I don't
like
think I would be able to sleep.
Yes. No, I would be scanning this. I'm like any movement. I'd have that thing tracking anything that's moving. Go ahead and zoom in on it.
It's up in space, dude. It's like turn around and look this way, and and we would go off our intuition. We go off old Egyptian stuff. We go off astrology. We go off all this stuff. Anybody who watches this, you can hit up Rion and I, and we'll go do the James Webb Telescope for you. We'll show you some cool stuff.
Well, it's not
in the wrong spot.
It's not even that. There should be a 1-800 number for any local astrologer on the planet that catches something from their rig, and then like, can you please zoom in on this? You're like, yeah, sure. Give me the coordinates.
Think 2024 had two comets. We had the green comet at the beginning, and then we had the other comet that came after. That's so rare, right? That second comet is one that takes thousands of years to come by. It wasn't like some normal, like, oh yeah, this one's going to come back around in your lifetime again, or even your grandkids' lifetime. No, right? So that's always a big sign that stuff's coming in from another world.
No, yeah, because my thing is that I think that, okay, this is how I feel for 2025. I believe a lot of the stuff that say off-world beings, right? ETs, whatever you want, there's interterrestrial beings that live here, mind you, and that are as old, if not older than us, far older than us, actually. And that's in the inner cores of the planet. But there's also beings that are representatives of our star lineages, because all of the starborn, star seeds, angelics, the 144, whatever definition you want, indigo, crystal, these are just vocabulary terms. But those who actually incarnated here, me and you, brother, and our friends and family in these comments, here's the thing. You don't think our own families would come check in on us? If this really was the great reveal, if this was the one incarnation that was the most important to actually ride Gaia's frequency up, the great transition, you don't think we'd all have tickets to this thing? And well, how do you have a ticket to the game? Oh, you have to have a vessel in the game. That's your entry point. You have a vessel in the game. So that being said, the amount of technology and stuff they're going to have to disclose is going to be, I think it's going to be as fast as I think how fast AI is kind of taken over. Right. I mean, and there's AI ads, this and that. And it came in like a hurricane, right? Now you can do all this stuff. You can study in 10 different languages. You can put this in, your earbud in, and you could talk to 136 different languages.
Right.
You just translate.
Well,
Okay,
then
that's
the hardware has been the crazy part, right?
Right.
To watch the technological hardware and quantum computing
is nuts.
right? Like that's what like
Yes.
is kind of the hush hush, right? Is the quantum computing in the background kind of going on right now? Like, oh, don't or all the data centers, that's where they're putting all the money, right? $20 billion of data centers are going in.
Yep.
You have to think it's more than just like the way that people look at like the internet. Like this is like also about another internet, like the next version coming.
Right.
Like a Web 3 or even a Web 4. Like people, if they want to know, like Web 1 was like email and like going to a website. Web 2 was like social media and apps. Web 3 is this financial system stuff and AI systems and APIs and integration. Web 4 is like, like you're connecting to your spaceship. Like
it's like a VR deep dive.
I know,
probably,
it's a completely different
thing.
world. And so I think what I've told a lot of people lately, especially for 2025, I just did my forecast. It's like, and it's been hard because I've done the best I could since like 2016 to prepare more elderly people for it. That we live in a world where that if you don't know how to use the technology, it's going to limit your life availability to things. We also have to look at the way the world works with career and what you do, because it's really opening the door to do your most greatest dreams. But if you're going to still stay on the system where you don't like what you do, that's just a lot of pain waiting for you. Right. And I know that's hard to say, but it's like the systems that are running in those old paradigms for the 9 to 5 and put my money in the IRA and do that is done.
Yeah. There's going to be different ways to not only move assets. We all know that XRP is on quite a run right now. A lot of the ISO 222 coins are also going to be doing very well. But what is this really? I believe it's the death of the Federal Reserve. And so this whole crypto thing, for me, what I saw it as, not as the end result. I saw like the old system, and then the crypto stuff was almost like a Band-Aid taking us into the new system.
Yeah,
like
that's very much. Especially that's why Ripple's been it's older than Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's the job of Ripple Labs, right? To create XRP, to be the centralized, like, how do we get people to actually move into a new system? That's what's so interesting about it. It's not about just buying some money and converting it into XRP and then just being like, I'm going to make a bunch of money. Sure, you could do it that way, but you're actually part of a system that's integrating with all of our dinosaur old ways of changing debt, money that we use, and working with all different versions of the new systems that are going to be available.
Now, and what happens when, okay, here's another thing too. Let's take us 2 or 3 years into the future. What happens if we get into a place where we do have contact? I know some different channels, I don't want to name them here, but they said 2027 was a big year for us.
I mean, that's the astrological, like, wow moment of like, like everything that happened from 2020 to that point that's been hard is over. And like, it's the opposite, like the best alignments showing up. Because what's really fascinating is after that in 2027, if you start to look into the 2030s and stuff, we will never have what we had. The extremes, the potent, the dense, like crazy, like overwhelmingly, like powerfully, like whole hard hitting, like what the heck's going on, like that. So to be honest with you, I've had visions of it. Like, it's like the new Burning Man, but different, where people actually honor each other on stage. And I know it might sound crazy. It kind of feels like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where we're literally talking and finding new ways to communicate it with the new technologies, light, sound, vibration. Like that's what I've seen for years through the astrology and just like also intuitively and through my guides has been like, we're going to have the best party on earth. It's like I feel like we missed the timeline of Independence Day, because I would have been on the top of the building like, what up, motherfucker? You know what I mean?
No,
it's like they totally. I'm glad I didn't.
Listen. I would have leaned into it. I would have been like, just send me to Valhalla. Like it's been a good run. Yeah, I would have leaned in.
Right. So, but this actually is kind of like the party that was meant to be that works. If you could change the Independence Day story and actually the party that was at the top of downtown LA, like when they're there and it actually is out in nature and like people are really like finding what our source of humanity is, where we all come from, seeing each other as one, but also not by, it's kind of like it's going to be Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Inauguration Day, which I think is really interesting because it's like, yeah, we're not, it's about our character. It's not about the color of our skin. But what's more interesting is we're going to go deeper than that. It's like, you're from here in that system and you're from this spiritually and we're all one and it's all good wherever you have more energy from here and you do this and you do that, right? Like it's about like the beautiful nature of what is this whole humanity. And I don't think all of humanity is the same spiritually either. Like, like
that being said,
about us being so many different parts,
Right. I think that's what is very interesting about some of us star seeds is that some of us maybe we're here to program and process some of the stuff that's been going on behind the scenes, while other beings here are just like going through their normal experience. Some beings are going through their normal evolution, their own choice points, right? Some of us, though, I feel like we're prepping for not only contact, but like galactic command. It's almost like they're loading up our subconscious with who we really are. And slowly I can see myself shifting almost in, I don't know what to say besides some sort of galactic commander from like the center. Like there's a version of me that's stepping in that like understands quantum mechanics, understands quantum entanglement, understands different bandwidths, frequencies, understands planetary structure. So within us, our oversouls are also kind of plugging into what we think our potential is. And our potential is so far beyond what we have even experienced on this planet. I feel it's going to be
and it's like, in order for that to happen, a lot of past life stuff is coming to this huge final clearing, right? So it's really weird because it's very much more about future life than past life, but it's going to be interesting because we're all magnets to like any of our final past life stuff that we have to go through. So I've been advising people like, I'm like, thank God I'm married, right? Like, and I found the one because like, people have to be careful during this time to try and be like, oh, something could look so good, but it really be the worst past life situation that you forgot to deal with right now. Because we're coming into all this, like the past life stuff's really coming to like, what did you not understand? Why if people are having issues with their sensitivity about something, maybe you want to do a deeper look with maybe a good practitioner that really can help you go back and see like what happened in your past lives, what happened in old systems, maybe even in the future. I mean, that's what's crazy is once you start going deep down in past lives, I've been in future lives too. Like it's like, wait, what? Like you could start, but people have to realize that we're all magnets to like old systems and scenarios where we failed before. We're not going to fail this time. It feels very much like the architect telling us with videos of like, you've been here before, motherfucker. Like, if you failed, this is your 6th time failing or whatever, right? It's like, no, you're not going to fail this time,
Yeah. No, a lot of the stuff I feel that we're clearing from past lives is not only sometimes our soul, I feel like a lot of us are almost like comets at times that slammed into this planet with a mission, right? I feel though that we had to choose our families that we incarnated through. And I feel there's a lot of memories and past life memories in these suits.
Yes.
The DNA of what you're wearing,
DNA for sure.
Of what you're wearing. You're like, I'm a good person. I didn't do nothing. You're like, yeah, well, that suit was your great grandfather's and he walked off that battlefield. And guess what? He was a warrior. He did come home and he did have, kids. You're in that bloodline of a survivor. So I think a lot of the stuff we're going through in your DNA right now, there was a time in your DNA, your blood right now in that suit, it remembers the great cataclysms.
Yeah,
It remembers going into the
exactly.
caves. It remembers the Ice Age. It remembers
It's scientifically
Atlantis.
proven
you know?
now, and women in their eggs, if they have a daughter, the daughter's eggs carry the traumas of the mom and the grandmother and so forth. So it does it through the reproductive system. It does it in other places. So some people might have like hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism. It's like maybe it's not just because you were born with bad genes or something, right? It's a throat chakra situation that needs that maybe your family line is afraid of speaking up because somebody did and they got their head chopped off, like, 1,000 years ago by, some crazy Norman knight who didn't like them or something.
There was a lot of that stuff about 3-4 years ago. Remember, everyone had to clear up all the the witches thing was like, it was like a thing. It was like everyone was going through that like Salem witch trial. It was like 6 years ago. Everyone was having like the witch trials dreams, a lot of the divine feminine.
Neptune had reached the exact place it was during the Salem witch trials back in the 1600s. Like it's a 165-year cycle for Neptune, and it had reached it second time. So it was like 330 years. It was something like that. It was exact. So we actually all did go back to that Salem if you happen to have been at that, right? And really that had been so crazy because people were just kind of jumping on what everybody else was saying to say it. It just was insanity. It wasn't that there were like witches doing crazy shit.
No, I agreed 100%. That whole thing was, I even knew the word. I was actually not allowed to say the word witch. My highest light said earth goddess. Earth goddesses, like the actual word witch was derogatory, just like some other curse words that we use. That was never a word that you want to be called. No matter who you are or what you think you're cool, that was a derogatory. It was always like an earth goddess.
My fifth great grandmother is Mary Parker, which was one of the last witches that was killed at Salem.
Well, see, earth goddess, great grandma. I just, there's certain words I'm not allowed to use. But back to what I was trying to say was that why is there such a hyper acceleration of our past lives, which you were talking about, and all of this stuff clearing out? Because
I mean, you're the Pisces, bro. So you know how it super vibrates through you like crazy. The whole universe just fucking goes what? Well,
it's like a river.
North Node just went into Pisces. It's going to be here for 18 months. So the eclipses are going to start in Pisces. Neptune's at the end of Pisces, the ruler of Pisces. Pisces deals with our past lives. It also deals with the universe. It's the whitest part of the sky, Pisces. It's literally us looking into the full, divine universe and seeing the eternal, right? And all these planets are coming into here. And that's what's so cool about this event is the midpoint, meaning like from now till like June, when we move into this whole other chapter, finally, the peak of what's going to cause all this to change and get out of some of that and feel all this stuff and start the experience like we've never felt is all going to be starting to peak out at the end of March and the beginning of April.
I know. And there's also like an alignment on March 29th as well. There's some sort of mini solar event. Do you know about that yet?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're coming into the eclipse, right?
Yeah.
So it's so funny. Like we did the total solar eclipse
last
year in Texas,
and
then we're doing another solar eclipse event.
It's like they want us to embody the light, but
I know.
The last thing I wanted to say about that with the DNA and us, going through is that it's almost like our energy, our soul, and where we come from is rewriting the DNA programming inside of the suit. Hence, you have to clear all of the past life karma and all of the DNA karma that's attached to the suit. And it's almost like a low frequency. Once you get the suit cleared up and transferred, right? And you've transmuted all of it, you processed it, you embraced who you really are and the thankful for the opportunity to be here. But now it's like you have like the galactic center like attaching to you once you've cleaned up all of the stuff from, what I mean? All the stuff that you're carrying.
Well, it's weird because Neptune's in square to the galactic center right now and the North Node too. So that means that we feel it, but we feel like there's like a curtain in front of it or fog on the window, but we are about to bust through that fog. But to get to disclosure, think about it. You have to clear this ancestral stuff. You have to clear this past life stuff because the more that the collective does it, then what's going to be revealed? Everything. because you're not attached to still old patterns and subconscious, like, because sometimes when you're not dealing with like past life pains and past life things, you're not going to be your greatest. And so all this stuff that we want to see is going to help us be great. Well, guess what? You got to do that last inner work. It's not like I know it's always weird because when you do inner work for so long, it's like, really? Another lap on the fucking track again? It's like, no, I'm telling you, we're at the last turn of the longest track you've ever been on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So so it's like you've already cleared everything, but there is that 1% left.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I have it.
If anything, this is glorious. If you would have 15 years ago been like, oh yeah, it's going to be about 15 years from now, you'd have been like, oh, fuck this. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't have done it. You know,
you would wish, oh, let me just get to where I'm like right at that. You're going to treasure these moments. This is what makes magic and makes it so much, to be honest,
it's not
so
the destination. It's the journey.
Exactly. I know. I mean, to be honest, because that's where it's going to start being like, people are going to experience magic in their own lives. Like, oh my gosh, yeah. I'm understanding this. I'm going through this. And then boom, this is being disclosed at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And the world's starting to change this way. And oh my gosh, I found myself more to another level. And now I'm connecting with other people. And now we're creating and co-creating at the same time where we're looking out for each other. But also I understand that you got to do you and I got to do me. And a natural alliance is forming throughout the collective. Yep. And everybody's not looking at each other to be like, should we do it the way that these like propped up systems are? No, fuck the way everybody's done things. Do it the way that we feel from within and that we see with our own visions, not trying to like, what are other people doing?
No, that truth always comes from the inside out.
Yeah.
All distraction and distortion comes from the outside in. I as soon as you started bringing up that topic, like 1 mile left, this is what it feels like. When we incarnated, we're like on ship, we're like, we got this. And they told everyone it's like a 10K. You know? It's a 10K. We got this, right? And then all of a sudden we're down here and we're kind of like 80s and 90s. We're looking around like, hey, where's the support? Then they go, hey, it's gonna be a half marathon. And we're like, oh, okay. Then we're a half marathon. And then all of a sudden they're like, it's a full marathon. And then all of a sudden we're at the finish line and they go, like when 2020 started, right? And they go, hey, it's the fucking Iron Man. Listen, it's the fucking Iron Man. You got to get on a bike now and pedal 25 miles. And then when you're done, you're going to have to swim another 12. But we're going to
put you on a Boeing big old spaceship. And then it's going to fail. And then we're going to leave you at the space station. And we don't know we're going to come pick you back up. But you'll be picked back up eventually.
It's the fucking Catalina wine mixer. I'm down here like, come on, guys. Like, how much of this ET real world shit do you need to see? Like, how much content do they need? I mean, I feel like we're being watched. Like not only planetary, but I feel sometimes we're together and we're talking. I feel like we're being broadcast all over the universe. Like we're like ET real world. You know the movie Divergent?
Yeah.
Or they go to the camp, right?
Right.
And they're like, oh, we made it to the next level. And everyone's like, oh, that's so-and-so. Oh, that's so-and-so. And all of a sudden we're sitting there going like, what do you mean you know my name? They're like, oh, I've watched you since your birth. You know, it's like, whoa. What kind of cameras, what kind of technology are you guys viewing us from? You know what I mean? Like, you're always watching. So what I'm getting to with this here, there's a lot of support for us. I want to remind everyone as we go through these turbulent times, there's a lot of support for us. We have our galactic families, our spiritual families, and everyone is rooting for this planet to be successful. I really want you guys to realize this. Inside, everyone wants this planet to shift. Everyone in the whole universe wants us to win. And that's something you got to put in your head. No one wants us to fail. Because let me tell you something.
Right.
How hard has this life been? Look to your left and look to your right and go, who can replace you right now? Dude, we're so.
Do you want to end up like looking and being like Gavin Newsom as a person?
No, I mean, goodness
That's
gracious.
when you're starting to believe that the dark's going to win as you turn into that.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, that guy's a wrap. That's a wrap. That guy, I mean, I don't know anyone who'd even hire that guy to wash their dishes. He's done.
Right.
He's toast. So with that being said, my brother, what else would you like to share? As we wrap this, and
well, to piggyback off what you say, this is what I really want to share is that there's going to be disclosure about different beings, crafts, stuff we've never even thought of. Okay, but we knew. The reminder is we're here because it's going to be a little weird because we deal with the spiritual and we can understand things once it's laid out. Like you lay out something spiritually, it sometimes stuff just comes when it comes. So it's the same thing with disclosure. We're all the ones that have to realize, like, hey, there's going to be a lot of people who are very intelligent and mental and will help like bring this stuff out or even talk about it, but they're not going to understand the full spiritual shit of it all, because what engineers all this, what powers all of it, is going to have a spiritual part of it. So 100%. I know some people might be like, well, I don't understand everything, or it's going to be so weird, or no, if anything, it's going to feel more natural and at home, right? Mm-hmm. Because we know how to operate all this stuff. And so everybody has a place in this world. Everybody's going to find their place, but it's the faster that you let go of the old system, then the universe is going to show up with your place more. Mm-hmm. And I think that, what's going to be the coolest part of all these disclosures is what isn't talked about enough, I think, is the deeper, more spiritual stuff that's going to be needed to operate. So whether U.S. government has tried, they've never fully got it because they always try to pick the person that's in their little club that they say are spiritual. Like, it's kind of like the fake spiritual people out there.
Yes.
Right? Like the Jay Shettys. Oops. But,
I don't know who that is. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Oh, good. Good thing. But the guy who said he was a monk, but he really wasn't.
Oh, hey, listen, there's a lot of snake oil salesmen out there, ladies and gentlemen. You got to steer clear.
He's just like the newer male Gabrielle Bernstein of the last 5-10 years,
Listen,
but the whole thing is like, we are going to understand this when others will not.
Right.
So that's going to be the weird thing, is that's kind of a past life thing or a reoccurring event, is like, we understand this crazy, whether it was tarot cards or astrology, all these more we can call them basic because we're moving to this next level that's beyond, right?
Right.
The horizon of eternity is showing up.
Dude, so cosmic. We're going cosmic down
exactly.
Here,
so we have to remember that we're going to be the ones that people are going to be like, what are you talking about again? But we're going to be like, that's where the people, like at the last event, so many awesome people that speak actual great light language. Mm-hmm. You will meet them and talk to them, and I'll be like, wow, I don't speak like language, but I understand what you're saying through light language, right?
Yes, there's an intent.
Everybody has so many different pieces to this new level.
Team.
Yeah, it's a total team. So but I think the astrology is saying it is time to when you just get out of the thing that is part of that old tentacle system. Literally, your dreams are possible. That's the other part of this, is our greatest dreams are actually possible. Bigger than ever. Because even though we've all manifested dreams, there's always kind of but it does, it's not the full pop all the way. This is allowing us to not just get the full pop, but go farther than we've ever even dreamed possible. So it start dreaming again. Start not being afraid of, I think the universe has pretty much proven the point that the system that we all thought would be around, the way the world would always look, is not going to be that way. It is falling apart. So the good example to me was the LA fires. I mean, it was a horrible situation, but it was also the positive that I see it was, well, yeah, there are slime balls that are in this world that are causing these things to be bad, but it also is that, when was the last time they replaced any of those fire hydrants? You really think everything that you rely on in the world from an old system is going to just work? So that means the idea of the old job that, does the old thing, that's got the guarantee, the guarantee is your spiritual quest. that you came here for. That's the biggest guarantee of your life. And so I think this is the greatest moment for people to start to build confidence and surrendering to their path. That's their true path. Because I know a lot of people who are so spiritual, but they still are afraid to fully go in 100 and live their full life and never look back. And so this might only hit one person with that, but a lot of people are fully afraid still. And there's nothing to be afraid of. Like there's zero to be afraid of. This is going to be the best time for you to let go, because if the Titanic was going down, I could tell you right now, hey, you can get off right now before it starts to go down. Like, wouldn't you like to know that and feel a lot better, not have to go through all that?
Put yourself through that stress. Just like, okay, you really want to walk the plank when your intuition told you to stop at the dock. Just stop right here. You don't have to, go off the cliff.
You don't want to be Shmee.
No one wants to be Shmee.
You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be Shmee and then have to hang around with Hook all day, and you know what I mean? And,
Yeshua don't want no scrubs. You know what I mean?
I know, but Shmee's kind of cool if you think about it. The other day, he's better than Hook. Hook's a little weird, but
yeah.
But like, you don't want to end up on that boat. You just don't want to go right in that world, right? So I think that's the other thing is we're really, the technologies that are going to blow our mind are like, yeah, they do have fucking ways to access multidimensional portals. Like, to me, that's where I'm more excited than anything. Like, there's a show called Dark Matter on Apple TV. It's freaking amazing. Like, about this cube that's built to go into multi-dimensions and how they do it. And it actually shows the real way it would be possible. And like, that's what's kind of gnarly is like, we're right there. And that's where, do your best with learning the things that you kind of lack in right now, like the small things. Some might be spiritual, some might not, like, I think especially if you're really bad with technology, like you don't need to understand how to like build the next craziest AI technology, but just where's that little part that you have a problem with technology with?
Right.
Like, go on YouTube and watch some videos for like a week on it. You'll see so much gain in your life right now. And how to understand, or because things are going to be coming so quick, and it's all going to be like about how the information and how fast it's coming. And so this is us also, as we're kind of in this Mars Cancer that we have till the end of February retrograde, where we're not having as much energy as normal. This is the perfect time when you do have that downtime to be like, you know what, let me like brush up on some of this stuff that I want to learn more. Because the info is going to come so fast starting at the beginning of March. It's just going to be like, you got to be kidding. It's already going to start fast now, but I'm saying like lightning crazy speed, like we've never seen, like Wi-Fi downloads from the universe that's blowing our minds. Like we thought cable internet was fast. We thought, fiber was fast. Like spirits coming down and up leveling us with like this massive download that's going to be the largest file, but the fastest integration and knowing immediately faster than that's already, I thought was the fastest. It was instant, but faster than instant.
Yes. So, well, it's also like I feel for the spiritual nature of us, our true, creator and, a father, a mother, whatever that may be, to actually show you, okay, you thought that technology was fast. Did you think AI was fast? And we're like, oh my God, It's lightning speed. And they just turn on your DNA. You want to see what fast looks like?
Right.
And you're processing,
that's why AI is here. It needs us, the faster part, to figure, to build it.
Yes, 100%. And, being, with these suits and what we're doing, and as we're kind of detoxing ourselves, our health and wellness, as we're mentally getting more sound of mind, I think even being able to truly understand your consciousness is also a level of responsibility too. Like they say, it's like you don't want to give a bazooka to a 5-year-old, right? Or you don't want to give these humans these types of technologies because they can also use them for warfare. Well, what if I told you that your DNA and your consciousness is so powerful that your own higher selves view you in the same way and limit your aspects and your
Right.
true data dumps because you're not an adult enough to wield that consciousness that's millions of years old. So as we go through all these emotional processes and all these life tests, listen, we're being tested left and right. How many of us, put a thumbs up on the chats, have had life-changing experiences just in the past year that
Right.
you can't even recognize who you were a year ago? I mean,
know.
I almost feel like, honestly, everyone here, I think I have like 2 years of missing time, like from when 2020 started to like 2022.
It was.
I have like 2 years of missing time. Like, what did I accomplish in those two? I mean, I don't know what it is. I feel like, and they were saying that some people were channeling some stuff too, saying that like, you guys don't know yet, but you guys are all missing like 2 years of time. And it's
Well,
like,
I feel like because we weren't compatible with the synthetic of just the energy. There was a synthetic energy, let's just call it that, in all ways. You can look at it from any form, right? That really did try to come down here. It was an alien invasion of synthetic that came down.
yes.
So that's what I think is like weird is we probably did jump timelines because there was so much Capricorn that deals with time. Like it's almost kind of like leaving my body here, but going over here, like, you know. And the other thing is and I know I've used a lot of Matrix references, but they never go in alone. And so with Pluto and Aquarius now, with the sun meeting on Tuesday, for the next 19 years, like we have to come together in person. Because when you just talked about the bodies and our DNA, imagine when everybody together clicks together to do this stuff and with all these new things. So it's like, people have to get over like, well, I tried being in groups. I tried doing these things. I tried doing these events. That was just the beginnings of like it wasn't the pop that we were fully there, right? There were some great moments, but like, this is what it actually is meant for.
Right.
Like, I can't stress that one enough. And I'm not even, you don't even have to go to the event we're doing. I'm just saying, like, for all of us, like, no, you need to start finding your peeps and start coming together and doing it, because the electric vibration between and the heart energy that the fields that we all carry together have to come together to be those bigger energy sources and transmit and reprogram the frequencies, because a lot of the dark frequencies aren't working and they're dying and they don't have the energy to support them anymore. They're all old in their energy and they're like they don't have the energy anymore. They can't keep using ships. They can't keep using alternate synthetic technology to do it. It will never carry it over.
Right. Because especially the magic spell is over. You know, the spell or the magic trick only works until the audience knows how the trick is done. And then the whole thing just falls apart. And I think that's what we're seeing right now, not only in the States, but globally. With that being said, my brother, how can everyone find you?
highvibe.tv or the Leo King. And in Sedona, March 29th and 30th, for the most epic event at the most badass center ever at the Sedona Performing Arts Center.
Yep.
Like, have people? I hope people have really realized if there's ever to be a spiritual event, this is where Sedona won. Okay, just period. But the coolest event center you could have, but in Sedona, there's nothing cooler than that.
No, it's real. It's the number one place.
I mean, Texas was fun, but you know, that energy of Texas is not the same as Sedona. So you know what I mean? Like I am so
beautiful people.
You know, I'm already, you know, for people that have never been to Sedona, this is your time to go. For people that have been, you know, but this is going to be like, because there is no better place to totally clear your frequencies and receive and tune and become so in harmony and in balance than Sedona. It is the place. I'm not even kidding. No, it is like, screw drugs, screw any kind of you just need to go to Sedona, and it naturally is the best feeling of your life. It's crazy. I can't describe it to people who've never been. It is the only place I have ever been to where you just naturally fall into your true self, you will feel the frequencies of the denseness when you leave Sedona and you come back down a hill. You will be like, wait, what?
No, you feel it. People driving back down to
I
Phoenix.
know.
It's almost like you feel sad. You're like, I don't want to go back to the Death Star. I want to go back. Yeah.
You feel, the way you said the Death Star, you feel all the frequencies that keep the Death Star that they never show in the movie. Like it's surrounded by, but that's what we live in. But when you're in Sedona, it's not there. Even Sedona has light ordinances and all these things to make sure that it doesn't have it. It doesn't have all those frequencies. And then that's even where Walt Disney went. Okay. Yeah. So like, I know people may not like him. Some people do. The guy obviously knew a lot about some of this backdoor stuff, being a 33-degree Mason, building Disneyland, doing all this weird stuff. But the way he got a lot of his downloads was in Sedona. But a lot of people do. It is the best, most. It's like I call it God. I'm going to call it God's breath.
Yeah, or Odin's lightning bolt, one or the other.
Both, all of it at once.
Yes,
and at that time of year is the best. It's warm and not too hot. It's the most beautiful. You can go have the best hikes. I'm telling you, Boynton Canyon's my favorite. I go up there and climb, and I'm like on fucking cloud 9. It is the best. I am more excited than ever. My wife's so excited. We're so stuck. I'm like, fucking thank you, bro, for fucking doing this. Like,
hey, I'm doing it for the fam. I'm just like, I want everyone to know, like I'm getting the Avengers together to create some like fantasy. I rented out a gymnasium so my brother could just crush it for the Galactic Prom Saturday night. And then there's another party Sunday night. Like we have not only the conference, but there's post-conference stuff. There's events, tours. I wanted to create something really special for everyone and I really wanted to make memories. And there's a lot of people that I'm still like waiting to meet. There's some people that have never come to one of our conferences that are like, oh, I've always had the idea. This is the one you should really come to. I got to say that honestly, before all this abundance hits and everything kind of changes, come meet your family and let us know who you are. Like if you really are here to change
to supercharge together, because like it's going to be the biggest supercharged energy astrologically, the time we're in, and there's no better place to do it than there. I feel like Sedona is going to be like one of the main, it is in the ley lines. It is one of the main hubs of this earth. But to do it there, we can send out and receive at the same time because it's both. We could receive the biggest downloads, but we're also going to put out our light energy to the world. Like that's so important right now. And honestly, I'm beyond stoked. Like I can't describe it. I used to do my retreats in Sedona and I haven't done one in so long. So I'm like so happy because I just knew it was like, something else is going to happen there.
Well, here's the thing too. I mean, we're all one family. Why don't we do some sort of Leo King's retreat? I don't know.
That's what the future is, where we all start.
That's where we're going.
How we did last event was the experiment, right? Like, okay, we're doing this together, but we all kind of do our own things, and we haven't. Like, that's how we're all going to be doing things. Like, we're going to start creating where everybody, who else has things? It's going to be so big in the years ahead. People are not going to be able to fathom it.
No, it's real, and like I said, I'm just excited. We've got a really awesome lineup. I'm really excited to get everyone who's maybe never experienced that higher frequency, or like, I don't know, maybe you lived in a big city or you've never been in a high vortex or high energy area. You guys might just have the most insane dream time just sleeping in your Airbnb or your hotel room after a huge event like that. I'm really trying to wake up the population. I mean, that's what we're really doing. I'm here to remove the blinders and wake up our family and let's get this. So if you're kind of on the edge in between, I kind of see the, importance of spirituality or who I am, and you're starting to remember who you are, your dreams and your purpose. This will be a jump start to just step on the gas. Like, here, let me help you shift in the fourth gear and, slam on the gas. So with that, my brother, it's been feeling
like you're on ecstasy by just being there.
That's
Like,
true.
I can't. That's like how I describe the feeling.
I'm already visualizing our prom picture, me and you, with the little back to back, just like like it's already on. I don't know. It's already on. It's manifested.
It's so on, and
It's
yeah,
on.
just definitely. You know, I know that Rion and I are hype guys, but like this is really a real hype for a real deal. Like it's not a joke, and that Performing Arts Center is so the highest top quality of kind of an event you would want to be there. And you're in Sedona. Like I can't stress that being on tours and doing. There's no cooler place to do this. This is the upper echelon to do an event at.
Absolutely. Well, with that, my brother, I love you. I could talk to you for hours everywhere across the planet, sending love and abundance. Check out teamlightstore.com for your tickets. Click on events. And my brother, till next time.
We'll see everyone there.
It's on. So I hope to see everyone there who's here. And my brother, an absolute pleasure.
And Mars won't be retrograde. We'll be like that energy will be like,
and maybe we're all just bawling. Maybe it's all just out of control.
Well, for anybody who's not bawling, find a way to go and get a ticket. And by going there, you change it. I was homeless, broke, and I remember to go to the astrology event in New Orleans in 2012. I'm like, I'm just gonna go and see what happens. And I have never been broke since that because I made that change and fully went in.
Timeline jump.
I'm telling you, whatever your issue is, this is where you go and let's clear it. That's what this end of Pisces, and we'll be in Aries season right when it starts, and we'll be in eclipse energy. We'll be in this Venus retrograde over the North Node, Neptune moving to air. I'm telling you, this is going to be like, what? So
I'm getting pumped. I don't know. Now I got to wait. How many days until that? I'm ready to go right now.
We were talking about this thing like 6 months ago, even almost a year ago.
Like 30 days.
It's like, wow, it's gonna be here before we know it. So 2 months.
2 months. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yep.
Till next time.
Maximus.